Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, the Corvette is still on the lift behind me. I need to go underneath it and clean something up real quick. But after I get that done, we're going to get the Corvette back on the ground. And today we're actually going to install the supercharger. Now you guys will have already seen the front accessory drive conversion from the old LS2, LS3 stuff to the LS9 stuff. So we have completed that video. That should have been the previous week's video. You will also eventually see videos talking about the fuel system, the cooling, and the electrical. I've kind of filmed partial episodes for that. And once we're fully done with this install, we'll get to those videos. So with that in mind, let's go ahead, get this car cleaned up, get everything ready for the blower to be installed. Alright guys, you just saw some glamour shots of the full supercharger with the LS9 lid and the 2650. So, did get some updates. The car is back on the ground temporarily. Did get the bottom of the crank pulley cleaned off. That's what I had to clean. And yeah, so I cleaned off all the wiring, all the hoses, everything out of the way so that we should just be able to slide the 2650 right in. The one issue we might run into is actually this vent tube for the Edelbrock valley cover plate, because you guys know that this came off my 2300. I might have to slightly push this out of the way because this is just a push fitting. I may have to bend this down that way. You know, at some point the 2650 snout has to sit in here and it's pretty much a straight shot over the radiator. So I'm afraid that this vent port and that snout is going to be fighting for the same spot. So so the 2650 is hitting that vent port, that vent tube, kind of like I thought it might. So I'm going to try to position that down out of the way, pull the blower back off, see if it fits again. And if not, we might just have to swap that vented valley port for the stock one. I think I still have one. That's going to be a whole bunch of extra work. I hope I don't have to do that, but if we do, we will. All right, guys, you'll notice that the blower is off and the valley cover is off the motor as well. So what you guys see over on the passenger side fender is actually an OEM LS3 style vented valley cover. So I'm going to swap that over. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to transfer all the hardware, the gasket, and the plastic vent baffle thing. I've done that in a previous video. I'll have that link up above. And so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that off screen and get the OEM one put back together, put it back in the car. Then we'll move, try this blower install again. All right, guys, you'll see that I do have a valley cover put back on. Now, this is the OEM LS3 style, and you will notice it doesn't have the kind of straight fitting that went up. So I think with the standard LS style valley cover, the blower should fit a lot better. And if we have to, this one will move as well. I put a 10mm socket on it, and you can move it left or right. So yeah, and you guys will notice I have some anti-seize sitting here. Take my hard lesson learned. If you guys are ever in here replacing the gasket or the bolts for the valley cover, always put anti-seize on them, guys. I've had bolts get stuck in here twice before. Now, mind you, that was some cheap hardware from Edelbrock previously on my 2300 kit, but that was such a struggle. Anytime you touch the valley cover, I will always be putting anti-seize on it. So now, I think we can go ahead and grab the blower, put it in here, and see if it'll fit. The LS3 style is now in the way. It's just ever so slightly. Basically what I gotta do, take the tensioner back off, move it 1/4 of an inch, we should be good to go. So let me do that, and if we're done, take the blower back off. Still have to torque the valley cover plate, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, before we put the blower on, you have to kind of finalize a couple projects, and One was we torqued down the valley plate bolts to 18 foot-pounds. I put our oil pressure switch in, I tightened that down. I also put our PCV hose for the valley cover, so this is vented. This we're gonna have to re-engineer later, but we're not gonna have room to get to this after the blower's put on. And also I got these AN fittings for our coolant system for the steam port. So you'll see that in a separate video. But yeah, so just a couple steps that you have to knock out before you put the blower on. All right, guys, we have the blower on here for hopefully the last time. We are taking all the protective tape off of it. And we should be good for the rest of the install. All right, guys, you can see we have the 2650 fully installed, and if you guys look down the supercharger, we have some of the bolts installed on both sides. I've done the first 5. We've got 5 more to go. And basically just follow the instructions that's spelled out on the Kong instruction sheets. It's pretty simple. Do it in a pattern that's based off the image, and you're basically torquing this down to 7.5 foot-pounds. So not a bigger update, but I will say this, guys, be very careful, because if you drop a bolt, you could potentially drop it right down there into the motor, and if the valve's open, it could try to find its way into the valve. I actually did that over on the SS over here. I never showed it on camera, but when I was doing the LSA swap, I dropped a bolt, and thankfully the valve caught it, but I did have to fish it out of the cylinder head. So guys, be very careful. Oh, and you want to use blue Loctite, so 242 blue Loctite. All right, guys, I just finished the blower install, and we got everything torqued down. Like I said, all the bolts are torqued in order, 7.5 foot-pounds. We got the valley cover plate that installed, and I've kind of started plugging in a couple of things. The blower actually did come with this little rubber nipple, so that probably goes there. This right here is a map sensor plug. We will not be using that, so I actually got a LS map sensor plug from ICT Billet. You guys can see the LS9 brake booster hose, that's plugged in. I was actually using that on my E-Force on the 2300. You can see we got the ICT Billet map sensor cap right there. You can also see we got the brake booster hose installed, as well as the fuel evap purge solenoid. And keeping with the OEM theme here, we're actually going to be hooking that back up. That way you avoid the check engine light. And yeah, so this is actually the OEM ZR1 hose. So we're just going to put the 90 piece up front and the 45 in back. We're going to have to move some hoses around and stuff and plug this into the vent line that's on the firewall. So yeah, I'm actually going to call the video here. I think this is a good place to stop, but I did actually install the lid. Well, mocked it up because, like I said, I am going in for the night. But this is just a good preview of what this is going to look like. And guys, I'll be honest, I didn't realize this supercharger was this tall, but it's kind of borderline the same height as the E-Force. I think the E-Force is just maybe a little bit taller in the back, but overall the height almost looks dang near the same once you add the lid. All right, so we got a couple more items to cross off the list. Install the blower pulley. Yeah, I haven't put the pulley on, but that's quick. And the lid, yeah, that's good enough. So here you go, a couple more things to go. Just gotta do cooling, fuel, and wiring. So yeah, once we wrap up all those videos, we should be done. We do have to get this thing tuned. I changed the IAT sensor. I also changed the map sensor, so those are going to completely throw the tune off. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to fire it up the way it is, because like I said, it was using a Ford T-Map. So we're going to have to get a copy of HP Tuners to get this thing tuned up. I already sent an email to my tuner. They will send me a startup tune, and hopefully we can test everything out, because we've got to do the wiring, the alternator, all that stuff, and figure that out. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see those future videos, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out all the links down below. I know I bought that ICT Billet spacer online, some of the AN fittings, all that stuff. I'll include as much part numbers as I can. We'll share that all down below, and also make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.